This morning, I'm happy to say we are back with our series, The State of Spirituality with Lisa Ling. Every Friday for the next few weeks, Lisa will bring us a story about Americans on different and unique journeys of spirituality. And in the fall, you'll recall, Lisa introduced us to several of those people as part of our series. In our latest installment today, Lisa traveled to South Florida to meet with people who believe psychedelic experiences allow for a deeper connection with God.
Where can God be found?
Welcome to a safe space where you get to feel it all.
Here at this gathering of Jewish men in South Florida, facilitator Mayor Kay feels he knows the answer.
Yes, God's in the trees and God's in the bush and God's in the plant, and also God's within us. It's right here, and the breath leads us straight back to God within us.
The men are here to go on a journey of self-discovery and connection with themselves and God.
One inhale into the stomach, second into the chest, and a sigh.
And they'll do it with a tool that every one of us has access to: breath.
You call the experience that the men are going to have not a retreat, but a remembrance.
Yeah.
Why?
Because we don't want to retreat. We want to remember. We get to remember our power, our love, our connection. And I create this really safe space where men who grew up in different backgrounds in Jewish faith, who could feel safe, feel connected through the Jewish lineage, and at the same time had access to these very kosher, safe modalities of healing.
Today's modality, holotropic breathwork, often described as a psychedelic experience without the psychedelics.
Breathe in deep and then let it go.
Participants rapidly breathe, reducing oxygen.
Inhale, exhale.
It's believed this way of breathing may release natural DMT in the brain, which alters the mind, the same way psilocybin mushrooms and ayahuasca do.
What happens through the breath work is that slowly the mind starts to get quiet and we are able to drop into the body, drop into the heart space, into the soul, and listen.
For hundreds of years, people have reported having religious experiences while connecting with their breath and while ingesting psychedelics. A survey conducted in 2023 found that the percentage of participants who identified as believing in God or a higher power increased from 29 to 59% after psychedelic use. Of the major religions, Jewish people appear to be embracing psychedelics, including breathwork, more than most.
There's no denying that there is a psychedelic renaissance that is happening. Why do you think Jewish people are playing an outsized role in this renaissance?
In the psychedelic space, I believe the Jewish people are trying to serve their role in humanity.
This is Rabbi Harry Rosenberg. He advocates for the use of psychedelics for healing, and what he believes may shock you.
I found psychedelics to be the elephant in the room, that this whole story actually has a psychedelic narrative at the core of it.
Rabbi Rosenberg is talking about the Torah, Judaism's most sacred text. That's right, he believes it may describe psychedelic experiences.
It takes a lot of chutzpah to assert that there may have been a grounding in psychedelics. Have you gotten pushback on these theories?
You'd have to be so well versed in an argument to come against what I'm presenting that so far today there has been no counter-argument to the theories.
He points to and interprets many specific stories in the Torah as evidence, like when the high priest atones for sin by entering a smoke-filled chamber. It's the crux of the story of the Jewish holiday, Yom Kippur.
And he puts the coals from acacia tree, this psychoactive tree which contains DMT, dimethyltryptamine. And he takes 2 scoops of a blended incense. The high priest has to stand there for about 10 minutes or so until the whole room is filled with smoke. So once I realized that inhalation of smoke from very specific plants is the core of the Jewish people's religion, I said, time out.
Let the world feel your prayer. Let it be nourished.
That brings us back to Mayor Kay and the work he's doing with Jewish men.
Does it feel like you are experiencing something that those in ancient times may have experienced?
100%. I do believe that this breath work is not a new technology. The technology of breath is one of the oldest stories in Judaism.
Raised strict Orthodox Jewish in Connecticut, Kay graduated from yeshiva, Jewish school, as a rabbi.
I was dressed as an Orthodox Jew, but inside, or my practices wasn't fully aligned with what the community standards were.
Kay says his deep spirituality came later, after he left Orthodoxy's strictness behind.
You said that the breath work helped you come back to your Jewish faith. How so?
When we connect with our breath, we connect with our soul. And so when I found myself connecting with my breath and getting the clarity that I needed, connecting with God and with no middleman, just by being, it was all okay.
Push up into the fingers.
At today's Remembrance, Kay hopes the men are able to do the same.
Exhale any shame between you and your prayer.
And by early afternoon, they were ready to begin their breathwork journey.
Let it out!
As the men go deeper into their minds, their raw emotion and pain start pouring out. Participants like Yossi Kagan report having a transformative spiritual experience.
Would you say that psychedelics and breathwork have helped you get closer to God?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it gave me that knowing.
And that's why Rabbi Rosenberg wants others to be able to experience this in a responsible way.
If there's certain plants today that governments are saying are illegal and you can go to jail for them, but also happen to be the fundamental plants of world religions, we have to ask ourselves the question, should we have access to these plants? Should we study them? So I'm informing other humans what your inheritance is. This is your text, this is your Torah, this is what it says, these are the plants, this is the storyline. Know about it because it's yours.
I was just reminded by Mayor Kay, something he said, which was the very first story in Judaism was when God breathed life into Adam. And he says that he focuses on men at his remembrances, but plans to open up to couples soon. And we want to make clear that there are risks with taking any substances, and one should always use them and when they are monitored and administered by trained professionals. Rabbi Harry is also advocating for the legal and safe use of psychedelics. Guys?
Once
Very
again,
eye-opening, Lisa.
Yeah, very eye-opening. Very third eye-opening,
Yes.
I'd like to say.
Yes, indeed.
I do love the fact that you have these men that are trying to get in touch with something deeper. We are a day and age where this isn't something we talk about often.
Right.
So if there's any way that you can reach the deepest, most depths of your soul, I'm all for it.
I think anytime men can be vulnerable and show that and come out on the other side, I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah. And if the theory is using plants can bring you closer to God, I 100% believe that our ancestors way back when were trying and experimenting, and that rabbi's interpretation of the Old Testament. Well, Lisa, I loved his hat. When he took the kippah off, he put on a hat. It said "Trippin'."
Right, that is his company, trippy.vc, because he believes that using investment funds and venture funds is a way to expand knowledge of psychedelics.
Very interesting.
Well done, Lisa.
I wouldn't
Well
mind
done.
one of those hats even when I'm not tripping. Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you. Always good to see you.